स्मृति आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। In our Samskriti, it is the dharma, putra dharma of the children to look after their elderly parents. We have this ashrama, and when the person crosses the grihastha ashrama and goes on to vanaprastha ashrama, their welfare is in the hands of the children, who should by then be in the grihastha ashrama. Grihastha ashrama is the most productive ashrama in the society. They work, all ashramas work for the society. But the focus of the grihastha ashrama, whatever your varna be, is to work for the society. But in that in particular, their own parents. Now, the question that arises is, what does taking care of the parents mean? Because there is time variation, and these are all not Shruti, these are more of Smriti. The children and parents lived more or less in the same place. And generally, the parents would live with the children, and the children would be very accommodative of their needs. But times have changed. So what happens now? Typically, the children go away. But they still have this dharma seed at the back of their mind that they have to look after the parents. What is that looking after mean? Pituhu hitakama prayukta. Acharya said, with that in mind only, Nachiketa is thinking the way he is thinking. But in a modern day context, what does taking care of elderly parents mean? Children are several thousand kilometers away from the parents. The exigencies of work in our society takes them far away. So how do they look after the parents? I have known some cases where the son insists that the parents come and live with him and he will look after them in some place in America or Australia or wherever. And the parents are not comfortable there at all. Parents go there. Children are usually in the suburbs in a large house, so they have enough space for the parents. But the parents can't go anywhere because you can't, unless you can take the car and go, even to the mall, you can't go. They don't easily make friends with the locals. At that stage in life, they are all the way they've grown up. They want to be in a temple, they want to go to some Harikatha, or they want to go to a concert, not the Justin Bieber type of concert. They are not interested in that. They want to go to a concert where there's classical Indian music. That's why you find every time some of these big artists go to various countries, the hall is full. You can't find a seat. They're longing for it. They're thirsting for it. Not only them, in fact, even the children long for it. I have known people, Indians settled in countries abroad, who suddenly start missing our culture, missing our music, missing our traditions, because you don't realize the value of it when you're here. You travel abroad, you start looking at this and saying, my God, why am I not able to see that? So parents are not, now what is that looking after parents? I don't know. Our concept of old age home till a few years ago was very different. Today it is very different. An old age home, if you leave the parents, you're looked down upon. What can you do? How can you just leave your parents there and come? Today, the old age homes are not called old age homes anymore. They're called senior citizen living. Very excellently provided senior citizen living. So children are quite willing, and they earn in dollars or pounds or whatever, and they're quite willing to buy a apartment for the parents. So in terms of physical comfort provision, children will do it. But again, the question still remains, what is taking care of children, of our parents? In a typical patriarchal society, which is what we are, it becomes the dharma of the son to look after the parents. So the children do the best they can. What is the best they can do? The parents are not very comfortable in Milwaukee or wherever it is. It's so cold, they can't stand the cold. So they put them in a nice little senior citizens home. That's why so many have sprung up all over India. And provide for them in every way, and then they come and visit them as often as they can. That's the best you can do under current conditions. But is that looking after parents? Their needs, their requirements? Nachiketa was very conscious of this. So he said, Pituhu hitakama prayukta. With that feeling in him, saying that whatever I do must be hita for the parents, useful for the parents. And here is his father doing a great yajna, where he's giving away all his possessions. And Nachiketa is looking at that, the last stages of it, all the good ones, things have gone. Nachiketa is looking at the process that's being unfolded there. And he looks at these cows, which are probably old cows. You know, the way it's described here by Nachiketa may not be actually true. They're older cows, perhaps. The good cows have already been given away. But Nachiketa is looking at them, my God, these are useless cows. Pitodika, Jagdatranaha, they are useless. I mean, he is already imagining saying, what use is it to the person you're giving it to? In a yajna, you give dakshina, it should be of value to the receiver. And he's looking at it and saying, if you do this, you give dakshina which is useless, then not only will the yajna become valueless, it will actually become negative. You do the yajna to go to certain lokas. You don't want to go to other loka. You want to go to a superior loka. And here he is looking at them saying, my God, Appa is giving away these cows which are useless. They only going to cost money to that guy because you're going to maintain those cows. If I have to maintain my father, fine, I'm okay, I'm going to spend all the money that I want. But if you give it to somebody and that fellow looks at the cow and says, my God, this is useless, he can't even sell it. Like many people do here in Tamil Nadu, where cow slaughter is banned. But in Kerala, it is not banned. So people smuggle cattle from Tamil Nadu because they don't want to maintain that cattle. They want to send it away so they make some little money on it. Otherwise, it's only a cost. So they smuggle cattle away to Kerala. For what? For slaughter. This is all happening here. This boy looks at, and this boy exhibits tremendous flip-flop between being a child and being a very mature thinker. And he looks at those cows and says, my God, this kind of cows father gives away, he will not go get the result that he's looking for. Instead, he'll get the negative result. He will go to Ananda Namaloka. One of the Tikakara says that is Narakaloka. Means ones that are considered 7 lokas below this Martiloka powers. He doesn't want his father to go through that. Anandanam te lokaha tansa gacchati tadadat. He who gives away this kind of valueless dakshina is only going to get into trouble. So that's what his thinking is. Nachiketa's thinking only as a observer in the whole ritual that is happening. That is Nachiketa's thinking. I don't think anywhere in this it says that actually cows are very bad. Cows may still have some use, I don't know. Other than their cow dung, which is considered very, very useful output. But these Nachiketa's thinking is, my God, this is going to create problems for my father. And he's thinking, what can I do? How can I look at Pituhu Hita? What is it that I can do? And this child comes up with an idea. Says, look, am I also not a possession of my father? A very prized possession. Certainly way, way better than these cows. Why doesn't my father give me away to one of these Ritviks? I can serve them. I can run all kinds of tasks for them. I'm an able-bodied young boy. Start thinking along those lines. Again, the question is, is the son considered a property of the father? I don't think anywhere in the Shastra it says that. Does a man or woman become the property of the spouse? I don't know. But there's evidence that there's something like this. Unfortunately, the Mahabharata is run only because Yudhishthira considered Draupadi a property to stake her in the gamble. He staked his own brothers. Our brothers and wife and husband and son, are they called property? Can they be considered property? I don't think Shastra defines it like that. But Nachiketa, a young boy, feels that, look, I am a possession of my father. And I'm much better than these cows and these useless stuff that is being given away. This thinking, right or wrong is not the question. He's already thinking very high, looking at it saying, good, I can also be given away. Up to this point, he's thinking like a very wise man of great experience, which is not, man of great learning, which perhaps partially true. He looks at his father and says, my God, should my father not give me away? Better than these cows. So he asks his father. Let's read together. Sahovacha
Sahovacha
Pitaram
Pitaram
Tata
Tata
Tasmai Mam Dasya Siti
Tasmai Mam Dachaditi
Vitiyam Tritiyam Tagum Hovacha.
Dvitiyam Titiyam Tahu Vacha.
To this, Nachiketa is saying, Sahovacha, he is saying. Then the last bit is what his father is now saying. Mrityavetva dadamiti.
Mityavetva Dadati.
Look at the child's behavior. Now he's gone back to being a child. Up to the level of asking his father, who are you going to give me? To whom will you give me? Sahovacha pitaram. Hey tata. Tata is tata. Tata is a word of endearment. In Bhagavad Gita also there's one verse no, where Krishna calls Arjuna Tata. Tata is just a word of endearment. So he says, wow, Kasmai Mam Dasyasi. To whom are you going to give me? I am also a possession of yours. I am quite happy to be given away. Just so that your yajna gets the phala that you're looking for. Ushan Havai, right in the beginning we saw. Because I know you're looking for the results of so much effort that you're putting in. Please give me also away. Now, all of us have gone through this experience. Everybody who's had a child will know that at that stage in their growth, the child can be very insistent. How many of us have told the child, when elders are talking, please don't interrupt? Have you not said that to your child? Because the child will say something and get, Appa, 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 Appa. Papaji, Papaji. Keep on. You're doing something very important. But child is not alert to that. That's what children do. So he reverts back to that. He first asks him, Tasmai Mam Dasyasi. Oh, very interesting grammar you see here. Tata, he uses the word of endearment. But he uses Madhyama Purusha. Dasyasi. That closeness of the relationship. Where he thinks, I am a property of my father. Dasyasi iti. The father doesn't respond. Father doesn't respond. He's looking at the father and saying, hey, I asked him a question. He's not. Father doesn't give much credence, obviously, to what the child is saying. Because he's busy trying to complete the yajna. He's got, I'm sure he's already made a list of saying, these dakshina should go to these people. Vibhagena, you remember. And he's supervising all that. That's happening. Some people are bringing in the cows and be given away. In between, this guy, this little child goes, Papa, 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 mere ko dena. Kisko dena? All children do that. All of us have experienced this. What are you going to give away to? Kasmai Mam Dasyasi iti. And when we are so busy doing something critically important, we're having a very important conversation with somebody, Even we don't have an important conversation, we do this. We tell the child, keep quiet. Or we ignore the child. Or we get a little irritated and say, go do your homework. He may not say this to this child, but he may say, keep quiet. Child doesn't respond. Doesn't listen to this response. So in his childish behavior, which I told you, it's a transition state that the child seems to be in, and he pulls his father's dhoti and says, Papa, 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 किसको दोगे मेरे को? किसको दोगे? Dvitiyam, Tritiyam. Again and again he asks. Dvitiyam, Tritiyam, Tagum Hovacha. Who are you going to give it to? Who are you going to give me to? Whom are you going to give me to? Normally, what will be our reaction? What will be the father's reaction? However much that relationship may be wonderful, however much the child may be dear to the father, once, twice, thrice, you ignore, third time, fourth time, he's interrupting you in some very important work that you're doing. Say, go away, don't say anything, shut up. Very common reaction. However, Vajasravasa may be a great man in his own way, but like all men, human, when the child becomes irritating like this, and obviously he's very irritating. He says, I'll give it to Lord Yama, give you to Lord Yama. Mrityave tva dadami. If you keep interrupting like this, if you keep bugging me like this, I will give you to Mrityu. Not Mrityu here doesn't mean Mrityu, I will kill you or something. In our cultural concept, everything to a Devata. I'll give you to Mrityu Devata. An irritated father responds to Nachiketa's repeated bugging question. Father probably doesn't even consider that the child needs to be given away. Whatever he's going to go through, suffer, etc. after the yaga has got to be done with the family. So he doesn't respond initially. Then later when he keeps on bugging him, he says, Mrityave tva dadami. Tvam dadami. Now comes the very interesting portion again. Again, the child switches from being a child to a very, very mature thinker. We will see that. The Acharya takes us up and expands it a little bit as usual. Can you put on the Bashyam, please?
Yes, sir.
Tadevam kat sampatti nimittam
Tadevam
Tattva sampatti is Ratu asampatti. Tattva sampatti. Nimittam Pituhu anishtam phalam
Vituhu anishtam phalam
Maya putrena
Maya putrena
Tata
Tata
Nivaraniyam
Nivaraniyam
Atma Pradhanenapi
Atma Pradhanena Napi
Tadeva Kratu asampatti nimittam Pituhu anishtam phalam. The sampatti that is giving away is not really sampatti. It's not going to give any benefit, any value to the receiver. It is asampatti. That he's already been thinking and saying this. Tadeva means follows from the previous verse. When he sees all the cows which are useless and which he feels by giving away his father will go to Anananda Loka. Says Tadevam in the situation. Asampatti nimittam pituhu anishtam phalam. He is going to gain something which he doesn't need, doesn't deserve, doesn't want. He's going to gain loka which is non-desirable loka. So anishtam phalam, in that situation, what should I do? What should be my role? Here is a situation where my father is doing a yajna and that dakshina being given away, which is very integral part of the yajna, if he doesn't do correctly, it's going to cause him harm. Pituhu anishtam phalam. What should I do? Maya nivaraniyam. I must, to the extent I can, help prevent that. I don't want my father to get negative results of the yajna. As it is going to get negative results because giving away all wealth. On top of that, he doesn't even get the phala of that yajna. That's not good. So what can I do? Maya nivaraniyam. He said Maya. What kind of Maya? Because I'm a Satputra. By whom? By me, by Satputrena. I'm a good son. I'm a dutiful son. Like I said, this is something ingrained in us still. Maybe a few more generations, we won't have this. But this kind of dilemma that children go through when they're sitting in the US or any other country outside, a lot of wealth, and they want to do something for the parents. They actually genuinely want to do something for the parent, but they know that they bring them there, the parents are not going to be happy. Now, doing something for the parents should make them happy, no? So they think, what else can I do in the current conditions? How can I do that? There's some high-end senior citizens living with beautiful facilities, wonderful place. Why don't I try and find a place for them there? Kind of dilemma. He also saying, because I am a Satputra. By Satputrena Sata. I am a dutiful son. And I have a dharma to look after my parents. Therefore, I must do what I can to anishtaphalam nivaraniyam, to remove any anishtaphalam that my father might get. Even if it means atma pradhanenapi, even if I offer myself, even then I should do it. I should not worry that I will be at a loss. That's not the issue. The issue is, what can I do for my father? Atma pradhanenapi kratu sampattim kritva ityevam kratu sampattim kritva. By making myself the sampatti that can be given away and will be useful to the receiver, it evam matva, thinking thus. All this is his own internal analysis. Pitaram upagamya. Oh, we've read this. Pitaram upagamya.
Pitaram upagamya.
Sahovacha pitaram.
Sahovacha pitaram.
He's been sitting there and watching this yaga happening and he's thinking. And then now at this stage, he goes to his father. Father is probably sitting at that Homakunda. And he's sitting somewhere behind. He goes to his father and says, Papa, who will you give me to? Whom will you give me to, correctly speaking? So he approaches the father. Pitaram upagamya. Going to the father. Sahovacha pitaram. Tells his father. Papa, किसको दोगे मुझे? Who will you donate me to? Who will give me away as a dakshina to? He tata, addressing his father. He tata,
हे तथा
tata, tata is tata. Tata is the word of endearment. Kasmai rigvid visheshaya.
विशेषाय
तस्मै
विशेषाय
विशेषाय
I'm a valuable possession. I'm a prized possession. So to which Ritvik, which Pandit will you give me away to? Ritvik Visheshaya, as what? As a Dakshina. Dakshinartham
दक्षिणार्थं
दक्षिणार्थं
Mam Dasyasi
मां
मां
दास्यति
दास्यसि
Prayachasi
प्रयच्छसि
प्रयच्छसि
Iti Etat.
इति
तत्
So he is asking, approaching his father and says, to which Ritvik as a special Dakshina will you give me away? Dakshinartham Mam Dasyasi, Dasyasi means Prayachasi, give away, Iti Etat. Thus he thinks. Approaching his father, he says, thus he says, and creating irritation. In doing this, creating irritation to his father and saying, Dakshinartham Mam Dasyasi, Prayachasi iti etat. Evamuktena
एवमुक्तेन
Pitra
पित्रा
पित्रा
Pekshamaanopi
प्रेक्ष्यमाणोऽपि
Tritiyam Tritiyamapi
तृतीयं तृतीयमपि
तृतीयमपि
Vacha
उवाच
वाच
Tasmai Mam Dasyasi
कस्मै
तस्मै मां
मां
दास्यति
दास्यसि
Tasmai Mam Dasyasi
दास्यति
iti.
मां
तस्मै
दास्यति
मां
Hey
दास्यसि
Tata,
इति
who are you going to give me away to? Evamuktena Pitra
एवमुक्तेन
Apekshyaman, for me only. Evamuktena Pitra Apekshyamanah api. But the father does not respond. When he goes to his father is busy doing the yaga. He says, whom will you give me away to? The father doesn't respond. So, evamuktena Pitra, by the father, Apekshyamanah api, even though the father does not respond. The child doesn't give up and go back to his seat. So, a funny mixture of mature thinking, right or wrong is not the question, mature thinking and childish behavior. Because he goes to him again, Dvitiyam Tritiyam api uvacha. For me. So what is it? Dvitiyam Tritiyam api, second time, third time, keeps on asking.
कस्मै मां
Asmai mam dasyasi.
दास्यसि
Asmai mam dasyasi.
तस्मै मां
Hey, Papa.
दास्यसि
Kasmai mam dasyasi. Papa, kasmai mam dasyasi. Recollect how you responded to your children when they did this to you. Especially in these days of work from home, you're doing something very critical in the office. And your 8-10-year-old child comes and says, Papa, can I go with my friend? Papa, can I go with my friend? Shh, I'm doing some important work. Papa, can I go with my friend? Father also, being human, had the same type of reaction. Dvitiyam, Tritiyam api uvacha kasmai mam dasyasi iti, kasmai mam dasyasi. Now the father reacts. At some point you will react. Till then you can keep quiet. Let's read. Nayam Kumara Swabhava
नायं
कुमार
कुमारस्वाव
स्वभाव
iti kudaha
इति
इति क्रुद्धः
क्रुद्धः सन्
सन्न
तन्न
पिता तं पुत्रं किल
पिता
पिता तं पुत्रं
पुत्रं
किल
उवाच
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 नृत्यवे
नित्यवे
नित्यवे
वैवस्वताय त्वा
वैवस्वताय त्वा
वैवस्वताय
त्वां ददामीति.
त्वां
त्वां
ददामीति
ददामीति.
Very good. Irritating behavior of the child. And when you are trying to do something important, the child keeps irritating, there will be reaction. This is not acceptable. And he gets krudaha. He gets angry. I would imagine more that he gets irritated. That's what father will typically be. But Shankaracharya uses the word krudaha. He is upset. Keep it, keep it. Go and sit down in your seat. He doesn't say that. He responds to the child by saying, Krudaha san, being angry. You know, once you get into that stage of irritation or anger, you don't really know what you're saying. Krudaha san, pita tamha putram kila uvacha, tells his son, Mrityave. Now here Shankaracharya does one more thing. He says, in the text it says, Mrityave va dadami. He explains, Mrityave here means Vaivasvataya. Vaivasvataya is Vivaswan's son, the son of sun, Lord Yama. Vaivasvataya dadami iti. Twa dadami, onnai kodupren. I give you away to the son of sun, Lord Yama, and Twa is Twam. Alternate forms. Twa explains Twam dadami iti. So when you read the verse, you have to read that the first portion is what Nachiketa thinks and talks. The last portion is the response from the father. Father now is in a state of now this irritation state, this state of anger may not last very long. But we do a lot of wrong things in that phase of being irritated. And later say, my God, what did I do? How many times we have all gone through this? You do something in anger. Krodha bhavati nasha only. That brief period, you have no control. At that time, one is unable to think, saying that I am in a state of krodha. I should be careful what I say. I am in the vasha of krodha, in the grip of krodha. Krodha doesn't allow you to think like that. It doesn't, like Swamiji says, take permission to come. Hey, listen, I'm anger. Can I come? It's okay. Just come. And doesn't give you any opportunity to review till after the krodha is over. And whatever one has done. Sometimes we say things, in anger and then regret it later. And this context of this Akhyayika, very important. Because you also understand when he is saying that. At the time when Dakshinasu Niyamanasu, when all the Dakshinas are being brought to be given away, at that point he's telling his son, Mrityave tva dadami. That becomes commitment. Anger goes, but the commitment stays. You can't step back from that. Whole Ramayana, all the 25,000 verses of Ramayana originated from this one fact. that Dasharatha made a commitment. There it was not anger. There it was out of gratitude. There were no witnesses to that. There is no written contract saying, I will give you 2 boons. There is no written contract. But you can't back out. That is our culture. Once the words have been released, they are indelible. You can't take back the word. Unlike what happens in, certainly in Coimbatore, I can tell you. People will come and make a commitment. Our water filter has gone bad. I've been chasing up with the water filter guy for the last 3 days. He says, I will come, sir, in the evening by 3 o'clock, I will come. And doesn't turn up, doesn't call. We keep waiting, and in the meanwhile, there's no water. So we buy water from elsewhere. And then 4 o'clock, and you say, what happened? You said you'll come at 3 o'clock. No, sir, where I am, it started raining. Please tell me, And then I'll come tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock comes, 10 o'clock comes, there's no sign of the guy. In the meanwhile, there's no water. But I discovered something interesting in Coimbatore. Probably all of Tamil Nadu. They don't want to say anything negative. They never want to tell you, I will not come. I cannot come today, can I come tomorrow? They'll never tell you. This is supposed to be, and this, I told some of you, I remember when I was a child, my mother used to say that in many places here, if you go to the shop and ask for tur dal, and if it doesn't have tur dal, he will never tell you that I don't have tur dal. He'll say I have chana dal or something like that. Because they don't want to say anything negative. But that doesn't change the fact that they make commitment and they don't keep it up. But that was not our culture. You will see more of that later. A commitment is much stronger than any written contract, a verbal commitment. Unlike one of the Hollywood film moguls who says something very interesting. He says a verbal contract is not worth the piece of paper it is written on. What sense will you make of it? But it conveys a lot. A verbal contract is not worth the piece of paper it is written on. Not written on anything. It's a verbal contract. Called Goldwinism. In fact, if you look up any grammar book, you will find Goldwinism. Goldwyn of the Metro Goldwyn Mayer in Hollywood. He is the one who came up with this. But in our culture, a verbal contract, verbal commitment is far stronger than any other written commitment. We need to be aware of that. Not only Ramayana, the whole Mahabharata has come because of verbal commitment. You remember what happened when Arjuna won the hand of Draupadi? They came back home and he told his mother, Kunti, I have brought you a gift. Kunti didn't even see. She said, like always, all 5 of you share that. That's it. It's a word spoken not in anger, but in ignorance. And then from there, the whole Mahabharata unfolds. Nobody goes back on that word. Oh, she didn't say, no, I didn't know what it was. Nor do these Pandavas say, no, I don't think you meant what you said. Word commitment. So the Pita has made this commitment, Mrityave Vaibhasvataya Tva Dadami. And then again, now Nachiketa hears this from his father. I am being given away to Lord Yama. How should I react? How should I respond? He is, somewhere he's read a lot of the Dharma Shastra, I think. Even at that age. Maybe he's heard it from his parents, from his teacher, wherever. And Dharma Shastra very categorically says you cannot move away from your commitment. So he's looking at that saying, now I have been committed to Lord Yama, even though the commitment has been made in a moment of anger. That commitment is still there. And the commitment has been made at the time when Dakshina was being given away to Ritviks. So he goes back again into a soliloquy mode, thinking mode. Starts talking to himself, saying, what does that mean? What does that commitment of my father to give me away to Lord Yama, what does it mean? What does it entail? So in the next mantra he says, let's read the next mantra. Sa eva muktaha
स एव मुक्तः
putraha ekante
पुत्रः एकान्ते
paridevayanchakara.
परिदेवयाञ्चकार.
Hearing this from his father, saha eva muktaha, he is thinking, putraha ekante paridevayanchakara. Goes into a very deep contemplative mode. In a quiet place. Now he is no more bugging his father anymore. Probably just step back a little bit. Ekante, on his own. He is thinking. Paridevayanchakare. Contemplating. What did my father say? What did he mean? What does that imply? Katham. Katham. Ityuchyate.
इत्युच्यते.
Connection that Shankaracharya really gives. Sa eva mukta putra ekante paridevayanchakara katham ityuchyate. In the next mantra it will say, what does it say? Bahunamemi prathamaha.
बहुनामेति प्रथमः.
Bahunamemi madhyamaha.
बहुनामेति मध्यमः.
Kim svidyamasya kartavyam.
किं
Vidyamasya
स्विद्यमस्य
kartavyam. Yanmayadya karishyati.
यन्मयाद्य करिष्यति.
So he is thinking now, and Shankaracharya has given you the connection. What is he saying? Bahunamemi prathamaha. In a group of people, I will be in the top category. Prathamaha. He's thinking to himself about him and how he can be of use to whoever he's been given away to. Bahunamemi, in a large group of people, aham prathamaha. I will be amongst the best. Bahunamemi madhyamaha. In a slightly larger group, perhaps, I will be at least in the second best category. Given this, given that I'm a competent young boy, capable boy, what is it that I can do for Lord Yama? Look at Lord Yama's functioning. Yama goes around, whose time has come, to ensure that is maintained. So what can I do? Can I be assistant to Lord Yama? Can I go with him wherever he goes and continue with his work? Should I sit here and make records of whose time has come, when has come, where is he or she? Should I be doing that kind of thing? But that also you already have Chitragupta. So maybe I should be Chitragupta's assistant. I'm capable. What should I be doing? In any group, simple example, in a school, a child may be amongst the best in his class. Studying in the 12th class, he is amongst the best, so he gets top marks. Then he writes the IIT exam. Suddenly he finds the competition is much bigger. In a school, in his class, there were 200 people. And among the 200 people, he was amongst the top. Suddenly he goes to write the joint entrance exam for IIT after school. And there are several lakhs of young children competing. And when the results come, he is not in the top 100. In IIT JEE, if you are in the top 1,000 also, you are very good. Because it is among several lakhs of people. But he is no more in the top band. It's relative. Like, you have these exams you write, competitive exams. They are ranked not on the absolute marks a child gets. They give you percentile score. So it's a relative score. So many children are better than I am, and so many are not so good. So when you go into that stage, maybe I'm Madhyama. But in whichever group you take, I'm never Adhama. I'm never the worst. Bahunamemi Prathamaha. Bahunamemi Madhyamaha. Look at that maturity of the child thinking along these lines. I have to go to now, Lord Yama, what kind of work can I do? What kind of work does Lord Yama do? I am not an idiot. I am a very competent person. In many cases, I am the Prathama, the top group. In many cases, I may be Madhyama. He doesn't say it here, but clearly implies I'm never Adhama. I am not the worst. What can I do for Lord Yama? He is thinking, so will we also think, what can Nachiketa do for Lord Yama? And then we will see if our thinking fits with his thinking tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva
Vasishyate.
Om
Om Shanti
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 Shanti.
Harihi Om
Harihi
Shri
Om Shri
Gurubhyo
Gurubhyo
Namaha
Namaha.
Harihi
Harihi Om.